Good Morning Football is a production of the NFL in partnership with iHeartRadio.
Now that football season's here, it's time to put some serious thought into what you'll be ordering from Uber Eats. Whatever's on your game day menu this NFL season, Uber Eats has you covered. They'll deliver whatever you order quickly and just how you want it, so you can stay in the game. Tonight, I'll be eating Uber Eats, the official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Uber Eats is bringing you game day deals all season. Order now.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I dropped the ball and I just started doing the salsa, and then it just steamrolled from there.
Throws one left, touchdown Giants, Victor Cruz on the slant, and he does the salsa.
The salsa's been around for years, but now that's the dance Victor Cruz started.
Welcome to Good Morning Football. We are presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky live in New York City. Happy Tuesday. My name is Kay Adams. Thanks for choosing us this morning. Kyle, Brett, Peter Schrager, and yes, he salsas. He also plays pool with Joey Badass, apparently, and hangs out with Ozuna. Victor Cruz is here.
You guys have to warn me before you do the montage. Like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
The producer in my ear told me that you asked for the montage.
Yes.
You said
that was happening this
I
morning.
will only come here this morning if, in fact, that happens.
I'm just trying not to salsa dance. Three or four salsa dances this week.
This week?
At least.
Wow.
Over under. What do you think?
I stumble into work this morning. It's in the dark. I see this man walking around the street talking to himself. Normally, you see something, say something. But he had this beautiful sweater, and he was salsa dancing. It was Victor. He was doing it at 5:15 a.m. in the dark.
Oh, like, I find Kyle. We're good. I'm going to salsa dance my way in.
Welcome. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to do this.
Let's hear from Rogers. He's always got something. And in this case, maybe a little passive-aggressive take on sports media with, so much overreacting. Take it away, MVP.
I think that there's even more now than when I started playing. There's so many overreactions that happen on a week-to-week basis. So it's nice to come out, have a good performance, and get the trolls off our back for at least a week.
Was there a change in attitude, especially after some of you guys said maybe there was some overconfidence going into the Saints game?
I don't know. I think we maybe tried to show that we cared a little bit more tonight.
And it worked, a much-needed victory for Green Bay over their division rivals. Did we learn anything about this squad last night after a nice big win over the Lions that I honestly was not comfortable with until the second half? So
No, they were losing at the half game. And it was a back-and-forth game, and the defense really wasn't stopping Jared Goff. He was doing what he wanted. Then the weather started happening, a couple stops, and then it got away. But what I learned is, take what they give you. And in the Saints game, it was not anything. There was nothing available. It felt like Rodgers couldn't even get a snap off because of that defensive line. In this game, they relied on another Aaron. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones playing in Lambeau for the first time since his father passed away this offseason. And did it with a heavy heart and then absolutely exploded. This guy, Kyle, would you say 4 touchdowns? He's the first Packers running back to catch 3 touchdowns since a gentleman named Andy Urum, who did that in 1942. 1942. They did. They threw passes, forward passes.
Good question.
Andy Urum is his name. But you know what? Honestly, it was like the first half. You're waiting for the Rodgers the big strike, and it was such patience and such discipline on the offense to just feed Aaron Jones, get him going. Because a lot of times it's going to be Aaron Jones setting up Rodgers in the deep pass to Devontae, and that's what it was here. Such a big difference between last week and this week. You see the 3 touchdowns there in week 2 in the passing game. Of course, he had the rushing touchdown too. So, to me, what I learned, Packers, they might be fireworks with Rodgers. He might throw for 500 yards. There might be games. They took what the Lions defense gave them, and they got the victory. And you know what? It might not be fireworks offense, but that might work. That might be just enough. And quick update.
What?
He was wearing his father's ashes on a necklace during the game. Wow. And the necklace went missing. I am told as of this morning they still have not found that necklace, to which Aaron Jones said it might be the best place for that necklace to be, right there on the football field after he scored 4 touchdowns. I love that story.
I love that. I mean, I think that's the tale of the tape for me, is that they have to get the running game going. They have to provide that balance for Aaron Rodgers in order to prolong his his season so that when he gets to the playoffs and he gets deep into the playoffs and into the season, he isn't hurt, he isn't tired, he's still preserved, he's still playing well, and he can still hand the ball off, and Aaron Jones can do things like that. Hitting them in the flat, the way he throws the ball out there, the way they design their offense is always amazing to me, how they find guys in open spaces like Devontae, they throw screens, they throw little under routes, and then boom, right when you're sleeping, they throw right over the top to Devontae. So as long as Aaron Rodgers plays the way he's playing in the second half of this game and continues that consistency, we'll see a Green Bay Packer team like we've seen in the past, like we've seen just a year ago, making it all the way to the NFC Championship game, and we'll see if they can get over that hump this year. But Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones are the two key pieces of balance for that Green Bay team, and we'll see if they can do it for the long haul.
The way you just said that, Victor, and we're going to see this and Canadian over the hump, it sounds very familiar. I'm not being flippant. I don't think I learned a single thing about the Packers. This was like play 2 halves against the Lions and call me in the morning. You know, like we were saying how they were losing at the half and everything. There's an amazing stat. 5 times the Aaron Rodgers Packers have played a primetime game against the Lions and been losing at the half. 5 times. They're 5-0 in those games.
Is that right?
They've never lost one of them. So I know Aaron Jones is very good. He's been good for 3 years. I know Rodgers is good. I feel like I watched that team last night. I didn't believe anything that happened week 1. I thought they were wildly cocky and ran against an emotional Saints team. The defense is a little suspect. The offense is unbelievable. And they'll lose in the divisional round or the title game round. Like, I didn't buy any of that week 1 stuff. And I talked about that. Last night was the Packers against the Lions at Lambeau. Like, I don't think I learned
still
anything.
Haven't seen...
You know what? Here's the thing. We're going to talk about this all week. Next week, we're going to learn a lot because the Packers are playing the Niners. So we'll get into that, and we'll have time to unfold that. Last night, I mean, they beat the Jared Goff, Dan Campbell Lions. Are we ready to hand them a trophy? I can't get there yet. Good job. You held serve, but, like, we need more.
But it's this whole mentality of play what comes to you. The run was there. Do you think that sometimes, do you feel like Aaron Rodgers gets back into this like 2015 mindset where he has to will his team into the playoffs? Like this team that he has around him now, a lot better pieces that he can rely on. Do you think he sort of sometimes gets back at like what kind? Did we see that week 1 versus week 2 in your head?
It could be. And, you know, Peyton Manning was talking about that a lot last night. They just came out running. And they're like, Rodgers is just running and running.
That's what you got to do. You know, you take what you got.
Yeah, well, you know. But no, to answer the question, yeah, I think that he is kind of in that place. But
the Packers are their best when he does that.
He does. But like, are they better? Like, it's Tunyon and it's Devontae, and it's just kind of, we've seen this. We've had this meal before.
Can I ask you guys a question? What do you think of his comments afterwards, saying that the media overreacted to a 38-3 loss in the way we ever? I didn't think it was an overreaction at all. I thought that was a shocking debut for this 2021 Packers team. I don't think the sports media might be a lot of things. I don't think it overreacted to that loss. I think that was an apt response to that.
Vic, we haven't talked to you about this. What was your takeaway from week 1? Like, they got destroyed.
I mean, yeah, you didn't lose by 3, you lost by 35. Like, it was a different thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, we are going to blow this one up because we haven't seen it before. And another thing you have to take into account is a lot of these starters, right, it's still... They didn't play a lot of preseason games, right? So they're still getting acclimated to like live bullets when it's real out there, when all the guns are blazing. Like those, there's a different mentality that goes off when it's real and it's week 1 and all the bells and whistles are happening. And then now we're starting to see week 2, and it wasn't until the second half where Aaron Rodgers felt comfortable and they made the changes and they made the adjustments in the second half to really come out and win.
Was it how they looked though, or like the score? Because the way there's,
I think it was the score.
Same thing, but it's 2 different things.
It's funny you say that because
so flat.
I see that. I think it was the score, and it's funny because the Aaron Rodgers that we saw yesterday, it's so much onus on him, and I think the offense is so predicated on him making the throws, making every single throw, and I think that's where it gets hard for him down the stretch into the playoffs. Is that at some point he wants to be able to turn around and say, hey, man, you do it for me a couple times. I don't want to have to throw it 48 times. I'm getting older. You know what I'm saying? So he's just trying to figure out, they need to figure out how to navigate that balance as they progress throughout the season.
And I'll say not something we necessarily learned. You and I harped on this point last week, but it did reaffirm that Aaron Rodgers, he might miss, but he does not miss twice. He does not have 2 back-to-back statistical games ever.
The great ones
literally ever. If you take a look, and he doesn't carry negativity from the previous week to him, with him, anywhere. So he was in command, willing to trust his playmakers. This is pretty wild. He's never had 2 awful games back-to-back. We'll see what he can do up against the Niners in week 3. All right, let's welcome in Mike Garafolo.
All right, Mike.
Our insider this morning. Week 2, unfortunately, dealt us some injuries around the league, especially with the quarterbacks. Tell us where we are with Tua Tagovailoa, Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, and Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, a lot of quarterback injuries to update you on, Kay. That's a bad thing, but the news overall, not terrible. Let's start with Tua. He's considered day-to-day after x-rays revealed, once again, no fractured ribs. So he's going to have to see if he can manage that pain there. And Brian Flores telling the media yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa, he's very tough. He doesn't question his toughness. So we'll see how he goes throughout the week, and there's a possibility he could be available this weekend. But again, the good news, no breaks, x-rays revealing nothing to that extent. Number 2, Andy Dalton. He's got that bone bruise in his knee on a non-contact thing. That's they call it an ACL type mechanism. So when he stepped the way he did, there was concern. Oh boy, did he tear the ACL? No, tests revealed that is not the case. But the bone bruise, still painful, still something that you got to be a little bit concerned about. So we'll see about Andy Dalton's status as we get through the week. Justin Fields obviously would be the guy, but Matt Nagy telling reporters yesterday, or clarifying after his press conference, that Andy Dalton is the starter if he's healthy. That's the if. Let's move on to Carson Wentz. He's got injuries in both ankles. Now, he came to the post-game press conference the other day. He did not have a walking boot on. I am told that after that, at some point within the next day or so, Wentz was in a walking boot. He had told his teammates during the game that usually he's able to kind of continue to play once he rolls his ankle, but this one felt a little bit different, so that's why he left the game. Wentz possibly not going to be available this weekend. We'll see again on that one. These are like day-to-day injuries we're watching on all these guys. Then you get to Tyrod Taylor. This one's not day-to-day. This one is week-to-week. Tyrod Taylor will not play for the Houston Texans on Thursday against the Carolina Panthers with a hamstring issue that's expected to keep him down for at least a couple of weeks here. So that's a big blow to the Texans because they were playing some really good football with Tyrod Taylor in there. In fact, Justin Reed, who had a couple of picks on Sunday, tweeted out, if Tyrod doesn't get hurt, we win that game against the Browns. Well, now they're going to have to move forward without Tyrod Taylor, perhaps for a couple of weeks here.
And they, of course, plan an early week this week. Thanks so much, Garofalo. Talk to you in a bit. Yep, Thursday Night Football, no Tyrod Taylor, but it's still going on NFL Network. We're here for a primetime showdown in H-Town. It's Christian McCaffrey ready to lead the Panthers to the next level with the defense. Number 1 scoring defense, number 1 total defense in the land right now. The Texans want to show out in front of their crowd. Panthers-Texans Week 3 starts here on Thursday Night Football, Thursday at 8 on NFL Network. Much more to come here on the show. Victor Cruz all week hanging out with us. Dan Hansa stops by. We'll talk Matt Nagy. What did he mean by that comment about Andy Dalton and scheme? What's going on there? And believe it or not, an angry run's just ahead.
Now that football season's here, it's time to put some serious thought into what you'll be ordering from Uber Eats. And since Uber Eats gives you so many delicious food options, I think about my orders like a fantasy football team. The star of my team would be a meatball hero with a side of crispy fries. Oh, and fries, my friends, are the points per reception of the Uber Eats fantasy draft. For a sleeper pick, keep an eye out for the Uber Eats Game Day Specials. There's something new all NFL season long, and they offer a great value for your team. The real star of any Game Day fantasy food lineup is Uber Eats, because you know whatever you order, it'll be delivered quickly and just how you want it, so you can stay in the game. Tonight, I'll be eating Uber Eats, the official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Uber Eats is bringing you game day deals all season. Order now.
This podcast is sponsored by Kyndryl. Kyndryl designs, builds, manages, and modernizes the mission-critical technology systems that the world depends on every day. Working side by side with their customers, they imagine things differently. By forging new strategic partnerships, they unlock new possibilities, creating a world powered by healthy digital systems alive with opportunity, oxygen to innovation, and energy to change the world. Kyndryl, the heart of progress.
This podcast is sponsored by Kyndryl. Kyndryl designs, builds, manages, and modernizes the mission-critical technology systems that the world depends on every day. Working side by side with their customers, they imagine things differently. By forging new strategic partnerships, they unlock new possibilities, creating a world powered by healthy digital systems alive with opportunity, oxygen to innovation, and energy to change the world. Kyndryl, the heart of progress.
Welcome back to Good Morning Football. Angry runs on the way. There were so many angry runs, Kyle.
We've been doing angry runs for 5 years. This is going to be the most difficult decision we have ever had to make on this program. This is going to be biblical. I'm telling you, I'm in my head about it.
And we will get to it. Time now, though, for a little game of Believe It or Not.
Let's go.
All right, I say a statement. You tell me if you agree or disagree. I know you agree. My vocal stylings are really good. So let's keep it rolling to Tom Brady. How insane is this? 2 games, 9 touchdowns. What does he call them? Tuddies?
Tuddies, tugs.
Two
Yeah.
tuddies. We have barely spoken about Tom Brady. So believe it or not, we are now officially taking Tom Brady for granted?
We are.
You believe that?
I do believe that. And we are because we're numb. We're used to this already. It's just scary to the point where he can throw 9 touchdowns and we don't even talk about this man because we're used to it. Talk to us when you're in the Super Bowl. Talk to us when the playoffs begin. That's when we start paying attention to Tom Brady. From weeks 1 to 17, we will not pay Tom Brady that much attention because we're used to the 3-4 touchdown games. We're used to him throwing for 300+ yards. Yes, are we used to him doing it at 44 years old? Absolutely not. Other people that have been doing it at his age are wearing blazers, doing color commentary, and playing golf, like myself. So I think we are numb to the Tom Brady isms of the world because we know he's going to do this. He's been doing this for so long. Talk to me in the playoffs. Talk to me when the Super Bowl game begins and Tom Brady has his chin strap on ready to go.
But we're even bored of him winning the Super Bowls. That doesn't.
Enough is enough.
Of course. There needs to be a game past the Super Bowl. Victor, we do a segment on Mondays where we hand out a game ball to any player we want in the league, and we run around the table. And I said, I'm going to give mine to Tom Brady. I could feel the eyes glazing over at the table.
Yeah.
Peter starts looking at his phone, or keeps looking at his phone, and Evan's just like, oh, yeah, Brady. He's born in 1977. He's threw 5 touchdown passes. And we got to hear about Derek Carr and Kyler Murray? No. He's the best player on the best team with 9 touchdowns. Of course we're trying. I'm trying on a mission to get people to care about Brady. And it's like we don't. We'd rather talk about anybody
Peter,
than
do
Brady.
what you were born to do.
I was born to tell you that we don't take him for granted, but hey, Kyle's right.
Of course I'm right.
In that we do a show every day. We're
Yeah.
gonna break the fourth wall. That's what they call this. We do a show every day, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. We could talk Brady for 3 hours if we wanted to.
Why don't we?
We don't, because we've been doing it for 5 years and he's getting better and better and better. If Brady has this drastic dip a couple years ago, we talked about Brady. We take him for granted. He's so good. And the zip on his passes right now at 44 might be better than the zip on his passes when he was 25. It is amazing how pretty his ball looked on Sunday. And I think we started the show yesterday. We're like, let's talk about Kyler. And it's like, Kyle's right. Guys, Tom Brady was better than all these guys.
This is getting kind of meta. I think this segment's getting boring. Because we're talking about Brady right now as we're talking about it.
What else can we say?
I don't think what can we do? Tell me this. What can we do to make him feel like he's not taken for granted? I didn't think the question was about our show. I was just saying in general.
Yeah.
It's all about us.
It's us and the human race.
I mean, he's in every commercial in the world right now. He's got it all.
They're just doing Subway commercials.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, even his footwork in the pocket, he could probably dance better than me at 44 right now.
Yeah, you're a good dancer.
I mean, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. But the way he climbs up in the pocket, he's just making all the right moves as a quarterback, as a traditional
And you don't
quarterback.
think we give him an appropriate amount of love? We don't celebrate every milestone. We call him
Not
the
this
GOAT.
year.
Do we need a shrine on the set to Tom Brady? Is that something we could?
I think he
we
deserves
have
a shrine.
that. Okay,
We have.
we could definitely.
When
do
Jordan
that.
was winning 6 titles, it was every single show, every single segment, Jordan. Now, it's not that we haven't given them the respect. It's just there's a little Brady fatigue, which is wild because this is meritocracy. When you win, we talk about you, but no.
Can we get a baby goat?
Yeah, let's get a goat.
Get a
Alive one.
Sure.
Alive one.
I mean,
Yes.
I want a little goat that lives in the corner there, and that'll be
great.
an appropriate level of respect for Tom
9
Brady.
tutties.
All right, him and the Bucks, they are one of only 7 teams who started the season 2-0. Not very surprising. So, believe it or not, the Broncos, the most surprising 2-0 team. I do hope we have the rest of those teams to look at, Kyle.
Yeah, there's a handful, and my answer is an emphatic no. I'm not surprised by this. Only thing I'm surprised with Denver is their offense has been this explosive. I picked Denver to be in the playoffs, not to pat myself on the back, but to compliment them. Their defense is great. 3rd year at the coach. I don't think it's Denver at all. I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, based not only just on 2-0, the opponents. They beat Lamar. Lamar just beat Mahomes. They beat Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. in this whole game that we cover, there's not a lot more quality wins than beating the John Harbaugh Ravens and beating the Ben Roethlisberger Steelers in Pittsburgh. I can't believe that they beat both of them. It's awesome. It's 2-0. It's the Raiders for me, Peter.
I'm with Kyle. It's the Raiders for me as well because of the journey they've taken. That Monday night game to go and beat the Ravens as underdogs at home and then beat them, and then go on a trip 6 days later, go into Pittsburgh after they beat Buffalo, and not only beat the Bills, but like beat them convincingly down the stretch. The Steelers beat them convincingly down the stretch to beat the to beat the Ravens and to beat the Steelers in the Steelers building. I don't think many people had that, so I'm going to say the Raiders. Broncos, not taking anything away, but yesterday Chris Carter was on and he's like, Teddy Bridgewater's my MVP. He's 2-0. No one believed in him. And I said, that's all good. I respect it. And I'm not taking anything away from these teams. The Giants and Jaguars are just not the Ravens or the Steelers. Not yet.
Well, I think for me, I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys. It's the Carolina Panthers for me. Okay. I think mainly because when you see the team, you didn't expect Sam Darnold to be playing this well. You didn't expect the defense to be playing as lights out as we were. I think with the Raiders, they kind of had that template from last year, and you knew that they were going to be somewhat good with Waller and all their talent that they have. But I think Carolina, I had no idea that they were going to be this type of team. At least early on, 2-0 is definitely surprising. Shout out to my guy, Sean Ryan, who's the quarterback's coach down there in Carolina, who coached us down at the Giants during our Super Bowl run. But he's got Sam Darnold playing at a level that they want him to play at. Don't turn the ball over. Get the ball down the field to your playmakers. Defense is playing absolutely lights out. If they can keep this kind of template in this format going forward, who knows what could happen. I'm definitely surprised with Teddy Bridgewater and the way he's been playing. But the way Carolina's been coming out and them being 2-0, I mean, no one's talking about them either right now.
Our next guest has over 26 years of NFL front office experience. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Let's welcome back our front office analyst insider, our guy for NFL Network, Mr. Scott.
What's up, Scott?
Scott, what's up, man?
Scott? Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to be back. I love my Tuesdays.
We love having you on the show. We saw two rookie quarterbacks go up against each other in week 2 with two very different results when you had Mac Jones with the Patriots and then Zach Wilson with the Jets. Wilson threw 4 interceptions in the loss. The stat that stuck out, of course, is that he threw 3 interceptions at BYU last year. Take us behind the scenes. How does a team address when their rookie quarterback doesn't come out lights out, but instead struggles in his home debut?
Yeah, Peter, we saw a really interesting juxtaposition of the two quarterbacks and how they were used, actually. The passes that they asked Zach Wilson to throw versus what they asked Mac Jones, who looked very, very different. You know, part of Zach Wilson and the attraction to him was this big arm, right? Everyone remembers that pro day, that throw-off platform, big arm, accurate arm, all these things that he could do. But the thing is, just because a player has a big arm, particularly when he's young and inexperienced, doesn't mean that that's what you got to try to show off. You know, his first 2 throws were beyond 13 yards from the line of scrimmage, whereas Mac Jones, his were 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. So to me, I think what you need to do to maybe get a quarterback that's young or inexperienced back on track is to throw the ball short and sideways, high percentage throws, get some things done that not only gives him comfort, gets him into a groove, but makes his teammates confident and comfortable in him. You know, I go back to one of the earliest lessons I learned in football, in pro football, was listening to how Ron Earhart helped Phil Simms become a really good NFL quarterback. It's the very same thing that Bill Belichick did years later with Tom Brady. Short, sideways, underneath, build the confidence, don't worry about the big throws, just get the young guy on track.
Speaking of building confidence, how about those Ravens? What a game. I'm always talking about it's the Chiefs and everybody else in the AFC. Somebody step up and make it interesting. They finally did it. Lamar finally got a win over Patrick Mahomes. What did that teach you outside of resiliency, which it obviously showed?
Well, first of all, Kay, I think what's important is they've built this team to be just like their leaders, their leadership group. John Harbaugh, formerly Ozzie, and now Eric DeCosta. What you saw was resilience because they built a team with a lot of mental toughness and a great deal of endurance. And we saw that. And it takes endurance when you've lost games multiple times. And sometimes it gets in the minds of some of the players, some of the coaches. It shouldn't, but it does. You know, I go back to a time, I remember when we were early on with the New England Patriots, we were 0-3 in Miami. We just couldn't get it done in Miami. It was the heat. It was a lot of things in our heads. As a matter of fact, the Patriots were 2-10 going into 2003. And we get into this game. We're losing most of the game. We tie it up, go to the fourth quarter, and, of course, Miami drives the length of the field, and they're in position to get the field goal. But Richard Seymour, who, by the way, should be in the Hall of Fame, That's my shout out to Richard. We got to get this guy in the Hall of Fame. Blocks a kick, puts us into overtime. They miss another field goal later in overtime, and then we have the ball 1st and 10 at the 18, and it's one of the most spectacular, exciting finishes to a game. Tom Brady finds Troy Brown, hits him for a touchdown, and I got to tell you, this pass and this play, I don't know if I remember ever seeing Bill this excited over a regular season win. He exploded. It was a play that really helped us get focused and realize that we could win in a situation where a lot of people didn't think we could win.
Scott, that is one of the many reasons you come on the show. We love going down memory lane like that. Here's another one, personnel and decisions. On Thursday night, Scott, it looks like the Houston Texans are going to start a third-round rookie at quarterback, making their fan base one of many who is saying, there's a 32-year-old MVP named Cam Newton just sitting out there. Let's get him. There's a lot of them. Now, Scott, Cam himself has said in so many words, I'm a lot. I'm a lot of guy to bring into a locker room. So I ask you, how does the front office weigh the pros and cons of bringing in someone like Cam Newton?
You know, Kyle, I think it's really important. The first thing that you mentioned in that piece or that question is a front office and a head coach's job is to eliminate distractions. Cam Newton, we didn't have to wonder if Cam was going to be a distraction. He's come out and told the world publicly, hey, I'm going to be a distraction. I've got an aura. I've got this thing about me that's going to be a problem. So if you're a team looking to get on track, you need to make sure that you're bringing in players where you don't bring in distractions into your locker room, into your press conferences, into your team. So to me, I think what you need to do is look at backups. If you're going to bring in a veteran, look at a guy that you have experience with. Again, I go back to some years where we brought in Vinny Testaverde to the Patriots. He knew what his role was going to be. Doug Flutie knew what his role was going to be. When I was with the Atlanta Falcons, we brought in Matt Schaub, who was a terrific backup quarterback. All of these guys had egos and starting experience, but they understood the mantra, which was just do your job. This is your role. Do your job. Wait for your time. If it comes, great. If not, be the best teammate that you can be, because it's about winning football games as a team.
Now, Scott, we know you're a good teammate because you're co-hosting a new podcast called Tape Heads, where you break down the biggest moments of the NFL from the weekend. I'm excited for this personally. What can the viewers expect from the show?
Well, Victor, it's great because I'm on with two professionals, guys who have a lot of experience. Bob Wischusen, who's been doing this forever, voice of the Jets. He's an experienced guy, so I'm learning from him. And then we've got Dan Orlovsky, who played 12 years in the National Football League as a backup quarterback, started several games. But I'm telling you what, listen to him talk about tape and how he watches tape. He's as good as anybody I've heard. So what we're trying to do with this podcast is use X's and O's and tape, but also talk about personnel and the intersection and marriage between X's and O's, players, personnel, strengths, limitations, and how players fit into teams trying to game plan certain ways. It's been a blast. We've only done 2 episodes so far, but we've had a blast. The amount of stuff that we had to leave on the cutting floor is unbelievable because we just get to talking. So it's been fantastic. And, you can catch this. We're going to be dropping another one today. What do they say? What did the cool kids say? That we're dropping another episode today. And you can find it on iHeartRadio podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or they tell me anywhere that you listen and can find your own podcasts.
I love it.
Love that.
The cool kids would say you're taking it to the top of the moon.
No, the cool kids are saying you're doing your thing.
Doing your thing.
The Scott Pioli
and by the way, there is a dark side of the
Ice
moon.
in the veins, yeah.
Peter, I think you said there's no dark side of the moon. I think there is, man.
I know.
Comfortably numb.
Pink Floyd is very confusing for me. I've been listening to Pink Floyd
Comfortably
my
numb was
entire
off
life.
the wall, by the way.
Yes, it was. And
boy.
sometimes I'm off the wall when I'm listening to it. Scott, we appreciate you being on the show. You're awesome as always. Thank you. And we'll check out that podcast. You, Bob Wischusen, and Dan Orlovsky. Very cool.
It is time for waiver wire claims.
That's
it's
news.
Tuesday. Yeah, a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries in week 3, so you got to put in your claims today at quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, you said you were impressed with the way he's been playing.
Very much so. He's been playing very well, throwing for over 250 yards each game.
He looks good. No turnovers. We love that about him. So he's been top 10 as a fantasy quarterback so far through 2 weeks, averaging 296 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Victor's like, I got that right. Woo, off the dome. All right, well, he has the Jets this week. So if you're streaming at the position, absolutely scoop him up. If you're playing in daily, I told Rich Eisen on game day morning, this is my sleeper at the quarterback spot. And and it paid off. It'll happen again at least for another week. Another quarterback for you. How about Daniel Jones? He's a top 5 fantasy quarterback this season. How about that, Victor?
Playing a favorable team this week, guys.
Yeah, do you want to know
active.
why he's so good? It's because he runs a lot. 127 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. 2 touchdowns on the ground. He's got the Falcons on Sunday, to Cruz's point here. They have allowed the most points to quarterbacks through 2 weeks. Now, I've had a lot of injuries at running back, so this week I will give you guys 3 to scoop up your welcome. Send your beautiful, nice messages to @HeyKAdams. First up, Tony Pollard. He's 12 at the position so far. He's ahead of Zeke Elliott. Even though he's in a split situation, he clearly looks better. He's dynamic. He's contributing in the passing game, and that makes him a viable fantasy option in this offense. Sony Michel, another guy you should keep your eyes on. Darrell Henderson dealing with a rib injury, and if he can't go, Sony is the next man up. I would scoop him up in case it is a nagging injury. We know Stafford's lighting it up. This offense always would. I will say I would not start him this week. It's the Bucs on the docket. Add him, put him on your bench, do not play him. And how about Cordarrelle Patterson? You get dual eligibility out of him, running back and receiver, getting lots of points. He's been playing 70% of his snaps in the backfield this year and thriving early. Top 10 performer at running back so far, racking up 2 touchdowns against Tampa last week. He looks better. He's been way more effective than Mike Davis and Wayne Gallman in that backfield, and I think we're going to see a lot of him this year. And finally, just because, in case you didn't know, I love him, Rondale Moore. Gotta do it. 7 catches for $114, a touchdown. He had 8 targets. That's the highest on the team last week. He is an explosive playmaker. I mean, I'm sick of saying it, but I just need everybody to hear it, swallow it, and pick him up. He is one of Kyler's go-to guys already. I would scoop him, start him. He's got Jacksonville this week. What do you think of that, Victor?
I love the moves. It kind of looks like a young me out there.
It does.
Those
There's a lot of that, too.
Making those moves. And Arizona might have the best trio receiver in the league.
That's foursome, really. Kirk in there, too.
Kirk, yeah.
All right, here we go. Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones, Tony Pollard, Sony Michel. Don't play him this week. Rondale Moore, absolutely play him this week against Jacksonville. And then a little dual eligibility gentleman named Cordarrelle Patterson. Do you like my Tony Pollard edition?
Tony Pollard is the best running back on the Dallas Cowboys.
Ouch!
I hope that Kellen Moore starts to learn it. I hope Ezekiel Elliott starts to learn it. I read an interesting nugget about Rondale Moore. I read that Kyler Murray to Rondale Moore was the shortest combined height of a touchdown reception in like 60 years or something, because it was like 5'10 versus 5'7. That's an awesome nugget.
Just another reason this 5-foot-tall lady loves that wide receiver.
When you're built to serve, there are no limits to the lengths you'll go to help those who serve others. You push yourself further so they can help pull others out of hard times with Ram 3500. With available best-in-class diesel torque and towing among 350-3500 pickups when properly equipped. You dig deeper so they can lift the spirits of others with Ram 1500 with an available legendary Hemi V8. And you give it your best effort so they can give everything they have to help others with Ram TRX, with the most horsepower of any production pickup ever built. When you do that, people take notice. Come discover for yourself why Ram is the first truck-only brand to ever be named highest ranked in initial quality by J.D. Power. Hurry in for great deals and the ability to serve others like never before. For 2021 J.D. Power Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is back, and the best bet you can make is downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It doesn't matter if you're new to gambling or an old pro, FanDuel has something for everyone. And as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you know your bets are safe. There's also never been a better time to use FanDuel, because right now, you'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. You can even turn a small wager into a big payday with a same-game parlay bet. Just sign up with the promo code SPOTIFY to place your first bet risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download FanDuel today. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain.
Who's with me? Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too. Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All right, who's the best team? Who's the worst team? It's time now to look at the power rankings ahead of week 3 by our very own Dan Hansis. We always do this with a theme for each tier. Today's theme, for reasons we're not quite sure of yet, boats. We'll do it according to boats. Let's go to the SS Minnow division. The professor can make a radio out of a coconut, but he can't fix a hole on a boat. What gives? Jacksonville Jaguars down at 32. The lines we saw last night, according to Dan Hansis, the second to worst, least powerful team in the league. Jets, Falcons, Bears at 25 off a win right over the team that they beat.
Gilligan's Island. Good, bad?
Annoying. I don't know.
Annoying.
Ginger or Marianne. We used to do Christina or Brittany. All right, next, the Black Pearl. And all its many, speaking of bad or good or annoying, those Johnny Depp pirate movies, the Cowboys 17, Panthers, Saints, Eagles, these are the sort of middle team. Washington, Miami, Indianapolis, Minnesota Vikings. And speaking of the Vikings, let's go to the Love Boat division. You could do the one that you used to watch on TV or the one that was in Lake Minnetonka. On the left, top 10. The Seattle Seahawks and the Cardinals round out the top 10. Seahawks, after a weird loss ahead of the Cardinals, Raiders, Steelers, Broncos, Chargers, Patriots, and then the Titans, who are 7 slots behind the team they just beat in overtime.
I cannot wait to see who has his number 2. We know the Bucs are 1. Who's 2?
Let's find out as we go to the New York Giants photo op boat before the Packers game. Victor Cruz and Tim's in a red hat. The Buccaneers and the Chiefs still at 2, right over the team that they just lost to. Again, we don't make these. Dan does. And he says it's not power standings, it's power rankings. Bills, Packers, Niners, and Browns round out the top 8. So you got gripes? You something grind your gears? This is the man who did all of that. It's Dan. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. And I was at Yankee Stadium in 1990 when Cecil Fielder hit home runs number 50 and 51 on the last day of the regular season. Big moment for Big Daddy.
Yes.
Who later won a ring with the Yanks.
All right. It's excellent. Let me just unpack that. Today apparently is Cecil Fielder's birthday, and we know that because last segment was Mike Garafolo's birthday, and he shouted out Cecil Fielder as having the same birthday as him. Dan, we always feel like it's our birthday when we get the power rankings. I don't know about Ravens fans, though. They're ranked number 3 on the list. After their win over the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, we talked about John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson at length, so give us maybe an unsung hero of the Ravens' win over the Chiefs and why they're up that high.
All right, how about Hollywood Brown? I'll throw him out there, a former first-round pick, 2019. You know, he flashed in moments as rookie last year. Things got away from the Ravens on offense at times, and Brown even got in the media a little bit and was a little unhappy with his role in the offense. So far this year, and building off a strong finish to last year where he really found a role and found some chemistry with Lamar Jackson, now he's really starting to become a difference maker. He went 6 for 113 and a touch on Sunday night. And the whole idea of getting Rashad Bateman, who hasn't played yet, obviously, in there was to find a number 1. And maybe that's what Rashad Bateman will actually be. But if Brown develops this way and Sammy Watkins stays healthy, all right, we're cooking a little bit now with that wide receiver group. Brown's a key to it.
Love it. The Niners ranked 7th after they took down the Eagles. They were ranked 20th. What was the bigger factor in the result of that game? The strength of the Niners D or the miscues on the Eagles offense?
I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, you're dying because those mistakes, the Philly not so special, Jalen Reagor stepping out of bounds. I mean, that's the difference in a close game, those type of miscues. But I'll go to the 49ers side of things and say that I really liked what we saw from their defensive line, which really obviously got hit hard by injuries last year. Nick Bosa being back on the scene is such a difference maker there. He had 2 sacks. And then you had Javon Kinlaw, who missed week 1 with a knee injury. Their run defense was an issue in week 1, not in week 2. So that was a really good game on both sides. It was a good trench game, Eagles, 49ers, and I thought San Francisco won the game because they won down there.
Now, Dan, you may notice my somber tone here because they got me talking about the Cowboys this good morning in the NFC East. They're ranked 17th after beating the Chargers, and yet the Chargers are ranked 14th. What were some of the more notable mistakes that the Chargers made in that loss, and why was that still not enough for you to drop them further down in the rankings?
All right, well, I'm sorry that the Cowboys came up, Vic, but I will say the Chargers, it's annoying if you're a Chargers fan, and our new newsroom in L.A., is literally across the sidewalk, not even the street, from the new stadium. And you hear the place going nuts while we're trying to do our work on Sunday. And sure enough, it's because the Cowboys are finding ways to win the game. And it's about miscues, the stuff that's not supposed to happen anymore for the Chargers with Brandon Staley there. And maybe they won't down the line. But 12 penalties for 99 yards. That can't happen in your home opener. 2 touchdowns negated by penalties. I didn't drop them too far because I love the Chargers. And after the game, even though we saw 2 interceptions from the quarterback Justin Herbert. Sorry, after the game, Brandon Staley said this is the best player on the field in this game. So I feel good about the Chargers still, and I feel good that Justin's last name is Herbert.
You're okay, dude. You're good, Dan. We love you, and you know every player in the NFL. We know. I can still not say number 99 on the Ravens, the defensive end, who was a rookie who had the game-saving play. So we're going to get to Justin Herbert, a little easier name. Titans came back to beat the Seahawks, we know, in a thrilling overtime win. It was a game where, once again, Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry. 35 carries. Felt like they got this one and they took it and they're off and running. Are you concerned, though, that the offense relies too much on Henry? 35 carries in week 2.
Well, that is a lot. That is perhaps excessive, but that was the type of game where they needed him to step up, and that's exactly what he did. I'm not worried. Maybe down the line it's going to come back, and you'll see him maybe not be the same guy in a couple of years because of all the workload over the last 3 years. But right now, he can handle it, and he's different than everybody else. So I think you can't put him in that box and say, these running backs can handle it, but Derrick Henry, and he won't be able to either, because I think Henry is just built differently. I mean, that size, that speed, when he went around the corner and just toasted cornerbacks and safeties and linebackers, it's just not supposed to happen that way. So I think he's just a special dude, and I understand why there's you want to look out for him and make sure you don't burn him out, but at the same time, you got to ride the big dog, never fade the big dog.
Power rankings, not a new sensation, but a sensation nonetheless, Dan. Be sure to check out NFL Power Rankings, presented by Energizer every Tuesday on NFL.com and in Primetime Tuesdays on NFL Network. They run in your blood, Dan. They are kind of your devil inside. Every single one of us, a devil inside. See you next week.
Good Morning Football is a production of the NFL in partnership with iHeartRadio. For more official podcasts from the NFL, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.